Bankai.
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 Bankai. Bankai.
Bankai.
Bankai. Bankai.
Yo, what is up, Vicco gang? And yes, we are finally doing top 10 Bankai in Bleach. My favorite Bankai in Bleach, okay? I don't really have a criteria for these or for these placements, you know, just honestly, chat, just aura and just personal preference, to be honest. Like, it's not really a whole lot of like crazy thought here, you know what I mean? Just straight up, if I like it, it's on the list. All right, just straight up honest. All right, chat. Like, comment, subscribe if you have been wanting this type of video from me. And yeah, man. And just a disclaimer, real quick, this video is taking into consideration the current Bankais that have been revealed and stuff in the 1,000-Year Blood War anime so far up until COUR 3. Just keep that in mind, chat. Just keep that in freaking mind. All right, chat. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. But first off, let's just get straight into the honorable mentions just really quick. Just really quick. And this might surprise a lot of you, actually. This might surprise you because these Bankais are really cool. They are really cool, but I'm sorry. I'm like, they're just honorable mentions in my opinion. I'm just put them in right now. Bang, bang, bang. Soifon, Ichigo, and Senjumaru. You guys might be like, what the flip are you on about? And like, dude, sorry. Okay, sorry. Mostly it's because, like I said, you know, I just like the top 10 more than these ones, but these were in heavy contention. I just wanted them to be mentioned at least in some way, shape, or form, of course. You know what I mean? I think Ichigo's is really crazy, like literally, and like obviously the lore reasons. You know, he has the very first Bankai, right? He has the very first Bankai. Is a really powerful, broken Bankai. Literally, the only person who's able to survive that is Yhwach himself, right? He's literally the only person who could have survived that at that very moment in the most perfect way possible, right? Senjumaru's was the added addition into the 1,000-Year Blood War anime, which was a very lovely addition, very awesome addition at that, right? It's literally a domain expansion, literally broken as well, literally exact same scenario as friggin' Yhwach. Literally the perfect like counter to her was Uryu, and like, you know what I mean? It's just an unfortunate situation, but her Bankai is insane as well. It looks really awesome as well, of course, right? It's just really quick, just getting them out there, okay? And now with Soifon, you know, I just think her Bankai is kind of funny. You know what I mean? I do like its name, and Jakuho, right? Koben, I think is a really cool name. And I think all of these, you're gonna see a very common theme very soon right now in this freaking top 10, okay? Anyways, and I do like that whole dichotomy. I think I believe that's the term that I should use here, where Soifon is, you know, this supposed to be this sneaky, you know, swift, character. You know what I mean? She even hates her Bankai because it's so like not her, like she thinks it is. You know, her actual fighting style. You know what she actually, what squad she leads. She leads the second division. You know, which is supposed to be the, you know, the sneaky division, right? Squad 2. But obviously her freaking Bankai is a giant freaking missile, loud, bombastic missile. But you know, obviously there's that dichotomy, like I was trying to say, is that, you know, she actually wants within herself, she wants to be more bombastic. She is a bombastic lady, you know, very explosive. You know, I mean, it's a really good way to show that off, in my opinion. It's probably really semi on the nose when you see it, and you know what I mean, like, oh, that's why, because, you know, the Zanpakutos are the characters, you know what I mean, like they represent them. So there is a reason why Soifon's Bankai is a giant missile. You know, so I do like that part of her, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's pretty much a well-known thing, I would think, at this point, right, chat? That is what her Bankai represents. But you know, I still like it. I think it's really cool in that sense, you know, especially with Soifon. Anyways, my blazer honorable mentions, we're trying to get into this top 10. Let's freaking go. Okay, so at number 10 we got Shinji's Bankai with Sakashima Yokushima Happo Usagari. Bro, like, damn, dude, like, you're gonna like, I love his freaking Bankai name. Like, it's so tough, it's so hard. Like, come on, dude, I love it. It's so sick. But that's basically a lot of what carries it. I'm not gonna lie, chat. Yes, it's in the top 10 due to its really hard name. I'm sorry, but its actual like effect is pretty cool. It's all right. It's an all right effect. You know, makes everyone in the vicinity, you know, turn on each other and attack on each other and kill each other. You know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean? And it's a decent play on, you know, Shinji's hypnosis based Zanpakuto. And it's like to the extreme. It makes everyone start killing each other. You know, and I actually do like the cocooning, like flower part of it, where he envelops himself in this cocoon flower thing, and then like all that stuff starts happening. It was really cool when we saw it in 1,000-Year Blood War, but I'll be completely honest, I was a little weirded out on how they presented it in the 1,000-Year Blood War anime, but I think it was really cool nonetheless. But yeah, other than that, Shinji's Bankai is pretty cool, but I do love the name. I've been liking Shinji a lot recently, as of recent, you know, as a character himself, so, you know, I think it goes hand in hand why I have Shinji's Bankai at number 10. So moving on, chat, to numero 9, we have Gen Ichimaru with his Bankai Kamishini no Yari. Tough, man, tough. tough, okay? And a big reason why this Bankai is up here is because of the ambiguity, I believe is the word, of what his abilities actually are, you know, throughout the whole freaking, you know, series, right? He's a little snake. He's a little snake guy. You know, he never really tells the truth. You know what I mean? That's his whole thing. And I think Gin as a character, he's a very well-designed character from all aspects, which makes me really like his, you know, that's why, you know, I like him. And also his Bankai was very like kind of like hush hush until literally the very end. Okay, literally the very end, where, you know, obviously spoilers again, chat, spoilers throughout this entire video up until Core 3000 Blood War, where he almost actually successfully kills Aizen. Because what Gin's Bankai actually does, or at least a huge part of the Bankai, is that he stabs someone, right? But then he leaves behind a small piece of his sword, which then essentially makes someone like disintegrate or evaporate right then and there, like literally instantaneously. But because he did it on freaking Aizen, who had the freaking Hogyoku, freaking infused within himself, he's essentially immortal. Like that's literally the only way Aizen survived. But he literally almost got Aizen from that one moment right then and there. But his Bankai is crazy, right? Because at first we thought, or you know, at least I was thinking, you know, when I first watched Bleach was, okay, you know, that makes sense. It's kind of like an extension of his Shikai, you know, just him being able to extend and retract his sword very fast, but on a more crazier scale, you know what I mean? On a crazier scale, you know, he, like, you know, we saw when he showed it to Ichigo, you know, he sliced through like presumably the entire town, sliced down 1 billion buildings, you know, like really fast, and he's, you know, he retracted it at the same speed, right? And he said supposedly, you know, he clapped his hands, and that is supposedly how fast he can extend and retract the sword, right? But you know, you never knew again if he was lying or not. That's, you know, and that's I do like that part, you know. So that's why I like Kamishi no Yari. It's a really sick name, really sick Bankai. You know, if it is greater extension and greater speed at said, you know, extension and retraction type thing, and plus obviously the leaving in someone's body, you know, a piece of his sword that essentially obliterates them from the inside out. Anyways, W Shinji, W Kamishi no Yari, now coming in at the W number 8 spot, right? Just going right in. At number 8, we have unexpected contender, not even contender, winner of spot number 8, Sajin Kamamura GOAT with his Bankai Kokujo Tengen Myo. Dude, come on. Literally, like again, you probably already know this by now, but the names of these Bankais are so tough. Like they're so hard, they're so sick. And like his is one of my favorites, and is a big reason why he's here. One of the big reasons I should say why he's here, because I actually do love his Bankai itself, okay? Which is the giant samurai avatar summon thing, right? It is really sick, and I actually do really like his Shikai too. It's basically just, you can summon parts of the, you know, said samurai giant, you know, and fight with it, right? It's really cool, right? And you know, it's really sick. It's really sick. And you know, chat, little fun fact about me, little bit of Vicco lore. I love giant things. Okay, I love giant things, you know, like, well, let's see, and more. I love Transformers, giant transforming robots. That was like my first love. No funny, dude. Like that was my first ever hyperfixations, you know, type things. I still love Transformers to this very day. You know what I mean? Like it's a little rough, you know, liking Transformers at the moment, but I love Transformers. I love Godzilla. I love mechs. I love all that stuff. I love all that stuff, all those giant mechs and stuff, all those just giant things, you know what I mean? Just like giant monsters, giant creatures, giant robots, you know, like it's so sick to me, so sick. And when I saw Sajin's, I was like, oh snap. You know, when he first pulled it out on Kenpachi, I was like, oh snap. I didn't think I was gonna see something like that, you know, from a Bankai. I was more impressed by that than friggin' Mayuri's weird friggin' crazy Ashisogi Jizo, you know, caterpillar baby. I was like, whoa, dude. You know, I mess with Sajin's giant samurai thing more, okay? It might seem a little funny, but I really like it. I think it's really cool. And I did honestly, one of my favorite, I don't say favorite, but I did like that fight when he fought that whale Arankar, right? I think it's Baragons, Fractions, right? I believe. I thought it was really funny. He just whipped out the Bankai just to to dispatch of that guy very swiftly. I thought it was really cool. I love seeing giant on giant, you know, fights. Really sick. You know, of course in Thousand Blood War, you got a pretty cool upgrade when he, you know, got, you know, into his like human form and stuff like that, and it looked like the freaking samurai giant like shed off its armor, which I thought was also really sick. It looked more like demonic kind of, and I thought it looked really cool. Personally, chat, personally. So I do really like Sanji's Bankai. Hope you guys can understand why I like Sanji's Bankai. I think it's really cool. Sorry. You can sue me. Don't. Anyways, now at number 7 for my top 10 favorite Bankai, we have, this might come out of freaking, this might jump scare some of you guys. Unohana's Yachiru Unohana, I guess, to be more specific in this specific instance. Minatsuki. Oh snap, dude. I just really like how they expanded on it greatly in the anime, because from what I I understand and remember right, in the manga, all she really did was just spew out this presumed just a blood arena, and that was it really. But in 1000 Blood, where they went crazy with it, she started, you know, whipping out like blood slashes and just, you know, manipulating the blood in all sorts of ways, you know. And I'm pretty sure it has like accelerated healing like abilities or something. I think it does. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that is one of its main abilities as well, you know, the Bankai. And yeah, like, but you know, Unohana isn't one of my favorite characters. You know, just admittedly, she's not one of my favorite characters because she doesn't really do a whole lot, literally up until 1000 Blood War. So, but you know, I don't dislike her. You know, I mean, she's just there to me. You know, but I think her Bankai and her sword is really weird and cool because her Shikai, for some reason, she literally does this like once or twice. But one of the more notable times is in the Soul Society. You know, she saves a couple people or heals a couple people by putting them into her Shikai's mouth, because her Shikai is a freaking giant floating, you know, flying manta ray thing, one-eyed freaking manta ray. And yeah, like, and I think just its saliva. I think it's just its saliva. But you know, they're in its mouth can heal people. Okay, crazy freaking string of sentences I just said, but that's literally what her freaking Shikai does. But then her Bankai is literally, it's like perfect for someone like her who was the original first Kenpachi. Okay, so I like that, you know, aspect of the Bankai as well. You know, it's really cool how it literally is perfect for her as someone who loves to fight, who loves, you know, usually she's a very, you know, Kenpachis are very chaotic people, you know what I mean, and it literally perfectly fits her. She can fight forever and ever theoretically with her Bankai, right? So I think if it does heal, if I remember correctly, if I remember that correctly, if I recall correctly, that's the same. That's Retsu Unohana, or Yachuru Unohana's Bankai Minazuki at number 7. Now there's gonna be even more of a surprise what's over on its potentially, but I think you guys should be able to understand why, at least with recent events, I guess, quote unquote recent events in 1000 Blood War Core 3 with Renji's Bankai Zo Zabimaru at 6. Dude, what they did with his Bankai in the anime is nothing short but fantastic. Okay, I have been a Renji defender ever since I started watching Bleach, you know, a couple years ago, and I just really love it, man. I like especially obviously, like I just said, Zo Zabimaru, they expanded it like crazy. You know, he didn't just a body masculine, you know, he actually went crazy on Uryu, even though he unfortunately ended up losing. I just love how they just showed like a lot of abilities that he can do with Zo Zabimaru. Like, I especially love these two moves where he whipped out his original Bankai Zo Zabimaru, and he like twirled it around in the air, and then he like it's twirled, you know, building up energy or whatever, and then he just slammed it down, boom, and it was super crazy. And then another crazy ability he has is where he is able to shed off like his monkey arm, his big, you know, gorilla monkey arm, you know, just only the skeleton part, and then but the fur, he's able to shed it onto the ground, but then the fur actually becomes traps. They become traps where, you know, more arms come out and snare Uryu in that instance. So that is really cool. Like, just crazy applications of the Bankai, and it goes nuts. It goes so nuts, and I really love how they showed the explosive power of his Bankai as well. You know, he's just punching Uryu through freaking walls, and his freaking sword just causes explosions. You know, the one in his other arm. I think Renji's Bankai, it's like so like you can tell it's a really solid and very strong Bankai. You know what I mean? I really like it. I really like that about it. You know what I mean? Especially with the GOAT Renji. I'm sorry, Renji's the GOAT. I really like Renji, and yeah, there you go. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Love Renji. Hopefully you guys can understand why I really like Renji's Bankai. Now, at number 5, where it might get a little contentious with some of you guys, okay, but this is my list, you know, and I think all Bankais are cool, but these are my top 10 favorite Bankai. So at number 5, we have Genrusai Yamamoto's Bankai Ryunjin Jaka Zanka no Touch. I mean, do I really need to explain a whole lot about Yamamoto's Bankai? Do I really need to explain? I'll explain a little bit anyways. I obviously the huge part of it is its, you know, cardinal direction, you know, play on it, where the, you know, east south or east south west north, like whole thing is really cool. Really cool. Like, it's probably the most, I guess you can say, intricate Bankai, you know, because of all that. It's like you can tell it's an old and involved, you know, trained, you know, honed Bankai. You know, you can really see it and feel it when you see Yamamoto's Bankai. You know, the east part, which I believe is what actually, you know, like starts off the whole thing, where he essentially condenses all of his flames, all his firepower into his sword, and literally at a touch, explosive power erupts from it, right? I love that. That's actually probably looking one of my favorite like sequences in that fight, in that episode, was that, you know, arguably one of the best fights in Thousand Blood War anime. And you know, I really love how that scene, that, you know, sequence looked when he was in that first state. I believe that's what it is, right? The East, and then I believe West is the one where he puts on, where he essentially makes himself really hot. He puts, you know, fire all over him. You know, I remember in the episode he had him, and they visibly show that he was melting the ground below him, and that was pretty simple, right? He just puts him like essentially fire armor, kind of, right? And then obviously the next, probably the craziest one is South, where he, you know, stabs his sword into the ground, literally just to counter this freaking quote unquote Yhwach attack or thing he did, that spell he did, where he, you know, essentially makes all of his past, I guess, victims, I don't know the best way to say this, but all the people he's killed with his Zanpakuto, he makes them rise from the dead to attack his enemy Yhwach. And I thought it was really crazy how, you know, the quote unquote Yhwach was able to recognize some of his fallen comrades, right? And I think that's a really pretty twisted part of his Bankai, but it's really cool. You know, they're ash skeletons, you know, fighting from the dead. He's able to summon essentially skeleton zombies, right? So, or just skeletons, right? Whatever, right? And then obviously North is just a big like buzz off slash thing, just straight up just nukes whoever's in front of him. And it's probably one of the best anime sequences in the show, was that part right there when he did that North slash. Really sick Bankai. And I love how it does affect essentially the entire, he puts the Soul Society at risk when he turns on his Bankai. That's how powerful that Bankai is. But yeah, you gotta hand it to Yamamoto. I know it might seem crazy that he's at number 5, but you know, it's also because, you know, Yamamoto, I don't say isn't one of my favorite characters, but you know, he just off the fact that his Bankai is so cool, he's in top 5. All right, so boom, skis. But now we have numero 4. Number 4, we freaking have the GOAT, Rukia, with her Bankai Haka no Togame. Oh, like, dude, yeah, Rukia's one of my favorite characters, and her Bankai is incredible. Like, it is pretty simple, right? It is pretty simple. She essentially lets out like a freezing nuke. She's a freeze nuke, okay? And then she gets into this friggin' crazy looking, you know, form afterwards, you know, in this crazy, really pretty dress and stuff, really ornate, crazy dress, you know, outfit, whatever, right? You know, where she can't move, right? But I don't know. I think it's just literally a lot of it is attached to one of my favorite characters with Rukia. I mean, in theory, like that Bankai is crazy strong. She literally instantly completely froze as not when he was like raging out. He went like giant form. He looks crazy, and he's just, she killed him right then and there. Like absolute zero froze the guy, and he literally like whooshed away into like ice dust, you know, into ice, you know, whatever, right? Like shavings, whatever. I don't know what you want to call it, but you know what I mean? Type be like snow. Honestly, yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say with Rukia. It is really cool how she was able to, you know, obtain a Bankai in 1,000 Blood War, and for it to be quite effective. And hopefully we see more of it in Core 4 of 1,000 Blood War, because they might be going crazy with 1,000 Blood War Core 4. And let's see, you know, let's just see if they add even more crazy additions to all these characters, you know, with even Renji, like Renji. I hope we see more of Renji's Bankai, and hopefully more Rukia's Bankai. Maybe she can go in there and out of nowhere cause a crazy like freeze on like freaking Yhwach or something. I don't freaking know, or like one of the top Stern Ridders. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and freaking see. But now we have at number 3. We're going on into number 3. We freaking have Shunsui's Bankai. Hiraku Shunsui's Bankai. Katen Kyokatsu Karamatsu Shinju. One of the toughest Bankai names, releases, whatever you want to call it, like ever, like straight up. And it is such a intricate Bankai as well. This whole play that plays out, you know, and it's crazy. Like I was saying with Senjumaru's, and I guess a little bit of Ichibe's. I don't think I mentioned it with Ichibe, but it's basically a domain expansion, dude. You're just stuck in it, and it's so crazy. I didn't mention it with Shinji, but it is, I don't think it's banned. I don't think Shunsui's is banned, but it is very ill-advised of him to pop Bankai, because it's a really huge radius, I believe, that it affects both enemies and allies. So allies can get caught up in it. I don't remember if Shinji's is banned, like straight, like he is actually, like his Bankai is banned. I know his is obviously ill-advised as well, because it makes, as I mentioned, I'm pretty sure it does affect both enemies and allies. So he has to be very sure allies aren't near him when he does the Bankai. So Shunsui has to be careful when he pops his Bankai. You know, even in the Oranka arc, you know, he's about to do it, but then Ukitagi's like, no, bro, chill, bro. You can't, bro. We're gonna get caught up in it. And yeah, by the way, that was a little nuts how he even thought about doing it, because literally everyone's fighting so close to each other. So there's that. But anyways, yeah, I love the whole play on plays. You know what I mean? Like with the stages, right, where he first does this. I know for a fact he does this thing where, okay, the first part, I believe, correct me if I get this a little wrong, okay, but I'm pretty sure the first part he gets you like super sick, like you get infected with this mysterious disease that's a deadly disease, right? But you know, if you survive that part, then he throws you into a bottomless ocean that you can't swim out of, you know, where you're supposed to drown. And then I forgot, I think he's supposed to do another thing, but I'm so sorry, I forgot. Okay, I'm pretty sure, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's all of it until the last part where obviously Shunsui like does his like weaving like thread thing, where that's supposed to be the final, like it's supposed to be a guaranteed kill, but at the cost of his own life if it gets to that point. Which of course, when he uses, he went up against a broken freaking Lilia Barrow, right? You know, in his angel form, right? In his full standing, whatever. And he's basically immortal. So it's like, okay, cool, like whatever, dude. Like he just survived that, I guess. Shunsu was supposed to die, I'm pretty sure, right? But yeah, I love that whole part, and honestly, I love the saying, you know, the Bankai name actually. So that's a big reason why it's there too. I think I need to chill out saying that, but yes, I do actually love the Bankai itself. You know, he has one of the sickest Bankai. Also, top 3 Bankai for me personally. Now, moving on to number 2 in my top 10 favorite Bankais, we have at number 2 Ichigo Kurosaki. He might be like, are you freaking serious? Up until 1000 Year Blood War Core 3, his Bankai hasn't even been shown since the first freaking core. And to that I say, you are right, but Tenza Zangetsu is the GOAT. It is the OG GOAT freaking Bankai. I don't care. Literally the most like craziest Bankai transformation scene in the freaking show, in my opinion, when he does Bankai for the first time. Bankai! And then Tenza Zangetsu. Oh yeah, dude. Like that's just crazy. Like literally like one of the best moments in the series, in my opinion. And it is a pretty simple Bankai, just essentially just amping all of Ichigo's stats, like all of them, attack, speed, it's all that, you know, all that stuff. You know, he just gets stronger all around. He just looks sick as hell. He looks so clean. He looks so clean in his Bankai. Both, you know, the original Bankai and then even full bring Bankai, which arguably looked maybe a little better. I think that full bring Bankai low-key is one of Ichigo's best looks. Call me crazy. I don't know if that's a crazy take or not, but I really like how he looks in full bring Bankai specifically. And, you know, like Ichigo is just a juggernaut, like for some reason. Like when he just throws out, gets a Tenjo, it's a nuke in Bankai. I think it's really funny and cool, in my opinion, how he just throws it, gets a Tenjo, and it's like one of the most dangerous things in the show. It's really funny and cool, in my opinion, just for that simple reason. Just Ichigo being Ichigo, you know, just main character MC stuff. I really like it. Okay. Sorry. I think it's really cool, really sleek. And kind of like how Ichigo sometimes gets a whole different, like almost like Super Saiyan like 3-esque demeanor when he goes Bankai. Tenza Zangetsu, you're done for, basically. You know what I mean? Like he gives off that like energy when he does that, in my opinion. I think it's really cool. Anyways, I don't know how long I've been recording, but I feel like I've talked more than I even thought. But you know, it's about the time I thought as well, as I'm seeing right now. On my recording. But either way, we have finally reached my number 1 favorite Bankai in Bleach. Might come to a surprise, maybe not, who knows. But for number 1 of my top 10 favorite Bankai in the hit series Bleach, believe it or not, is
Bankai Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi.
Byakuya Kuchiki with his Bankai Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi. Oh yeah, dude. Like, come on. That's like literally my favorite Bankai saying ever. Like literally ever. Like honestly, Shinji's Bankai is like one of my favorites as well. Like one of my favorite Bankai names. But it's literally because he's down there because the name literally carries all of it for me, in my opinion. But anyways, I mean, come on. Like his is like the most. I think his Bankai is like probably the most iconic in Bleach, right? Or at least one of like when I think Bankai, I think of friggin' Byakuya's first. His Bankai Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi is like the Bankai that represents Bankais, in my opinion. Maybe for some of you it might be Mayuri, because Mayuri's is one of the first Bankais as well. It's literally the first Bankai to be shown in Bleach, right? So I can understand why maybe his represents Bankai, but to me, Byakuya's Bankai represents Bankai to me, in my opinion. So that's a huge thing. I also do think his Bankai is so cool. It's pretty simple, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to say it's not simple, but it's like really like, it just goes with Byakuya's whole aesthetic perfectly. It's so pretty and it's so vicious at the same time. I do really like that. Like it's literally perfect with Byakuya. Like he shows this really stern, stoic, you know, personality, but he'll like kill the crap out of you. You know what I mean? Like he'll freaking kill you. Like he has no like second guesses when he wants to kill you. You know what I mean? And like that's his Bankai. You know what I mean? Like it looks really pretty, but that thing wants to kill you. You know what I mean? Like you are gonna get torn to shreds with that. And also, I almost actually straight up almost forgot until right now that his Bankai actually has stages to it as well. It's so like freeform. It's probably because due to, you know, Byakuya's, you know, training and experience that he's able to do this with his Bankai, but he's able to freeform move it with his hands. He doesn't even have to use his hands, but he uses his hands because, you know, to direct the Bankai, you know, because it's faster, I believe. I think that's why, because the pedals move faster. He's able, and then obviously I think the craziest part of his Bankai. One of my favorite parts of it is when he makes the freaking Senkei. That's what it's called. The Senkei like dome thing where he like surrounds himself and his target with Senbon Sakura swords. Senbon Sakura made, you know, swords. They can like he's like literally the entire like it's like an arena of swords. Like you're caged up by swords. He can summon in theory all of them, right? He can summon one sword at a time. You know, he literally did it with Ichigo. He summons the sword, stabs him in the foot, summons another one. Does he stab him in the foot again? In the foot again? I don't remember exactly, but you know, he literally does that to Ichigo. I'm pretty sure he says something to like, I can throw all these right now, but that's not my style. But in theory, he can just literally send all the swords at the target. And honestly, it looks like a pretty broken ability, to be honest. It looks like a pretty broken ability, and it's one of the sickest abilities in my freaking opinion. And then obviously that's not even his freaking Bankai in the 1000 Blood War. I was about to I might as well mention it now, where he goes against Asnot for the second time, and Asnot's like, oh, that's your Bankai, isn't it? And Byakuya's like, no, actually, this is only my Shikai. And it's like freaking crazy. Like he freaking stabs all these freaking Asnot eyes that are going crazy. Like it's a freaking giant like storm of Senbon Sakura too. It's like, I wouldn't blame Asnot for thinking it's a freaking Bankai. It's a huge like storm of Senbon Sakura petals. I don't blame Asnot for thinking that. So that's not even his Bankai. So, but yeah, Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi is the best Bankai in Bleach, in my personal opinion, up until this point of the 1000 Blood War anime, with Core 3 being the last core that just came out. Let's see if we see more Bankai in the future in Core 4, if they add new Bankai, if they add on to Bankai as like they did recently with, like I just said, Renji, and they included Shinji's Bankai, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Yeah, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed this top 10 ranked of my favorite Bankai in Bleach. You know, if you guys want more, you know, top, you know, freaking things ranked in Bleach, you know, like movies. You know, I never watched the movies actually, so maybe I can do that for you guys one time, or maybe even like straight up the swords. Even though this is low key that, to be honest, so I don't know about that one. Or top Bleach OSTs, openings, and stuff like that, because not a whole lot is going on with Bleach at the very moment, but all I know, chat, is Bleach Soul Resonance is finally gonna release in November, and we'll cover that game for sure. Okay, chat, so look forward to that with Bleach as of right now, chat. All right, chat, so if you guys like this video, please consider hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, most importantly, if you really want, of course, you know, like, it'll be highly appreciated, but you know what I mean, it is all up to you. And comment your thoughts. If you have your own top 10 favorite, or at least top 5 favorite Bankai in Bleach, go right ahead. I'll love to see that. And with that being said, chat, or maybe you have some opinions on my freaking list, you know what I mean? But of course, you know, I think making your own list is more important. And honestly, I respect any on all lists, okay? Because honestly, it is our own personal opinions. So anyways, chat, with all that being said, has been yours truly, freaking Vicco, and I am freaking gone. Sub now!